today singer-songwriter Rigby Summer in studio, and she's going to be playing live for us and talking about her music. And to start things off, I want to play her brand new single called Ballad of the Star. Here's Rigby Summer on Wyoming Sounds.
So is your new work going to be an EP or a full length?
It's a full length, 11 tracks.
Whoa, hello.
Uh-oh.
Why is it not, is it only a sample?
It shouldn't be. It
No.
should be the whole thing.
Yeah,
Are you streaming it or did you download it?
I'm streaming it.
Oh, if you're streaming it from that link, it might be just a sample.
Ah, yes indeed. Okay.
Oh, rats.
Well, we'll do it at the end. Well, that's a taste of the new single. We'll hear the whole single coming up here in a little bit on Wyoming Sounds. It's my pleasure now to welcome singer-songwriter Rigby Summer into the Wyoming Sounds studio. So great to have you here this morning.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And Rigby, you're based in Oklahoma, but it seems like you've moved around quite a bit. You have interesting sort of musical connections to everywhere you live. You say you had a Kansas City jazz upbringing, and then have the Southern California beach pop lifestyle, and now you're living the red dirt roots Oklahoma life.
Yeah, I spent a lot of my 20s kind of rambling around, living in a lot of different places, and pretty much as soon as I was allowed, I had my driver's license, and it didn't take long before road tripping was like a regular thing for me when I was pretty young. So I've kind of always had itchy traveling feet, I guess. And yeah, the places that I've lived, pretty much every place I've ever lived, I never left until it felt like home. So if I hated it, at first I stuck around until I found a way to make it home. And so I've definitely absorbed a lot of different places.
And you actually have you've been in Wyoming before. You were a semifinalist at this 2019 Wyoming Singer-Songwriter Contest. How did that come about?
Yeah, well, that was kind of funny. I spent the summer working up in Saratoga, and pretty much any time I got a day or maybe 2 days in a row off, I would go wander, and I ended up making some friends up in Lander, including like Rob Wyman and some other folks up there. And there was a weekend that at the last minute I was headed up there and said, is there any place I can play? And they said, well, yeah, they're having a singer-songwriter contest and they still have spots, so you should come. So I did, and so I played Lander Bar and had just a magical night with all the fun new people I met there. And
you were the audience choice that night?
No.
Later?
My round in 10 sleep at the semifinals, the audience voted me their choice. So.
And what was the song?
The song that kind of made it into their top 5 was Buy Me a Piano. Yeah, which I'll play for you today. But yeah, we played 3 songs that night. So.
Well, can we hear that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Rigby Summer live on Wyoming Sounds.
You could buy me a piano, an old bass guitar, or a golden with a Bixby. If you want to go that far, I have no need for trinkets. I don't care about shiny things, but baby, buy me a piano. Forget that diamond ring. Drive me to the mountains, and we could hike Yosemite, watch watch the sunset over Half Dome and count the stars from the valley, 'cause I have no need for trinkets. I don't care about shiny things, but baby, drive me to the mountains and skip that diamond ring. Adore me, yeah, and your flowers fade and die. Show me you could be my soulmate, and we'll be set for life. And maybe when I have a bad day, just be there. You could listen to my story and show how much you care, 'cause I have no need for trinkets. Our most precious gift is time. Baby, I just need your loving, and that don't cost a dime. But you could buy me a piano. Ooh, oh yeah.
Rigby Summer live in the Wyoming Sound Studios on this Monday morning. She's actually playing tonight in Laramie at the Rough Duck with Sean Hess. That show's starting at 9 o'clock. And tomorrow evening, she'll be on the other side of the mountains for a 6 o'clock show at Firewater Public House in Saratoga. And Rigby, since you're asking for pianos and not shiny things, it seems like music, obviously now a central part of your life. When did it come into your life?
It was always there. It took me a long time to kind of own that that it's what I really wanted to be doing with my life. I was raised Midwestern and very practical, but I always had a very free spirit, and so for a long time I walked the line between doing what seemed like I was supposed to do and what I really wanted to do. And probably 10 years ago was the first time that I really kind of leaned into wanting to make music, and that's how I ended up in LA. I had friends who heard me play. It was the first time I played songs for anybody outside of my room that were mine, and they said, well, if you ever want to come out here and make a go at it, we'll take care of you. And so I did a couple years of that out there, and had no idea what I was doing. So when things got rough, I met someone in Oklahoma. It seemed like moving there seemed like the right idea. So,
and then you took a 5-year hiatus from music.
Yeah, which was just sort of slow and unintentional. Just heading to Oklahoma, and kind of a lot of life changes and things. Just slowly, music got put on the back burner, and I reached a point where I really didn't think I was going to get to do it like I thought I wanted to. There was actually one point, probably 6 or 7 years ago, that I thought one day I should like get out my guitar and play for a while today. And I opened up and there was a TSA slip, and I couldn't remember the last time that I'd flown with my guitar. And I realized it was over a year, and I hadn't even touched my guitar. So about 3 years ago, in a very organic way, opportunities started coming my way for no good reason other than just kind little nudges and taps from the universe, or however you like to refer to what takes care of us and moves us along.
Well, and you sort of took on an entrepreneurial role. You started a songwriter pop-up.
Yeah, and that's kind of was a big part of the impetus for all of this happening. I had a friend who was coming down for the Folk Alliance conference in Kansas City that February in 2017, and he was like, well, you should put a show together for us in Stillwater. And I was like, I live in a college town. Like, I mean, it's like Laramie on a Monday night. You can't play a coffee shop. You'll just make everybody angry who's studying. And if you go to the bar, there's not going to be anybody there. It's Monday, you know. So he's like, well, you'll figure it out. And I had a friend who was getting ready to open an art gallery, and she overheard me talking about this little problem. It was literally 5 days before he was coming, and she said, well, I'd be glad for you to use the space. It's still under construction, so there's like a hole in the floor. We had to put tables around so people wouldn't fall in, and a pile of wood in the back, right? Construction lighting, and like 15 or 20 people showed up on a rainy Monday night, like who had no idea who any of us were, because I wasn't playing music at the time. And my friend said that was magical. We'd be on the board and do this all the time. So that kind of became my school, and I just started having a reason every month to invite the best songwriters in Oklahoma to come play with me, and I had to get better. I treated every one of those shows like an audition, and then the next year I started hosting touring musician friends that I met through the Folk Alliance, and started learning more about road life and stagecraft and like what it means to be an artist from some of these people who were doing it at a higher level, and started touring myself about a year ago. So.
And where does the All Music Starts Local initiative fit into this?
That is a thing that I am is still like a nebulous idea, but like what I've realized this time around, like this go, is that number one, competition in anything artistic doesn't get us anywhere. It's only collaboration that moves us all along, and I've seen that with how much opening a space and hosting other artists has helped me improve myself. But then I also am just fascinated by this idea that you can go anywhere. You can go to 10 Sleep, Wyoming, population, what?
It's low.
It's low. It is not a large town. And 3 maybe, right?
300.
That's 300. I was like, I think there's a few more than that, Bob. Come on. But you can go just about anywhere in the world, and you can find people banging on guitars together, like figuring out what it means to write music or to play music together, and building community through that. And so I've started hosting showcases at Folk Alliance conferences that I always do it in the round, so that people are meeting each other and connecting as they're playing together. I do longer sets than those showcases usually are. They're often like 15 or 20 minutes. I do 45 minutes because I want people to come in and like soak into the music in the middle of these conferences that are like very crazy and busy, and I'm just really passionate about helping people connect with each other through music, whether it's musicians, connecting. Like if I'm touring, I want to find whoever's local and work with them. I don't want to just do this thing by myself. And so I'm slowly evolving that idea. I think it'll eventually be, I think it's eventually going to be a bigger thing that I take on. I just don't know what it looks like. And as I try to figure out how to actually make a living doing all this stuff, right now priority 1 is getting this record out into the world, and then I'm going to start focusing on the community building as well. So.
Yeah, and you've just finished production on a new record called Geography that's slated for release early next year, and we'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
What are you going to play for us next, Rigby Summer?
What are we going to play next? Well, first I'm going to real quick double check. Guitars really love it when it's 0 degrees outside.
Right.
So that tuning that we did right before we started, I realized I got really distracted playing that last song because I was just listening to things go out of tune while I played. It's always fun. We're going to see how this goes. This next song is one of my most popular songs. People really respond to it. So
What's it called?
it's called Delaware, California, and it is on the record with all those geography tunes. A lot of songs about place, and this is one of them. It's my love song for California, so it's called Delaware, California. You can go, I don't care, all the way to Delaware, but don't expect me to cry for you. take all of me. I've thrown my heart into the sea, off the sunset shores of Malibu. Because you know I wanna stay. I'm happy here in West LA with all the surfers and winters so warm. I love the lights upon the bay and how the palm trees gently sway as if to hold me in their loving arms. I told you at the start that you would never have all of my heart. It's been stolen away by Hollywood and the Palisades. So you can fly to Timbuktu, St. Petersburg or Saskatoon, maybe Sydney, wherever you will roam. But when you find your way from old Algiers to the promenade or Venice Pier, we'll be here whenever you come home. You knew from the start that you would never have all of my heart. It's been stolen away by Zuma Beach and the PCH. So you can go, I don't care, all the way to Delaware, run as far as you need to run. But when the nights become too cold and loneliness is growing old, we'll be here waiting for you in the sun.
Rigby Summer live on Wyoming Sounds, performing a song from one of her from her upcoming record to be released in January or February of 2020, which is of course just around the corner, weeks away here, potentially the album release from Rigby Summer. And you can find out more about her music and watch for that album release at rigbysummer.com. Rigby, putting out an album, I mean, you went from, opening up your guitar once in a year to putting out an album. That's a pretty significant change.
Yeah, it is.
What made you, so you said it was just life circumstance that had you sort of put the guitar in the case in the closet, as it were.
Yeah.
And here you are now on the verge of releasing your first full-length album. What changed in between?
Well, what I talked about with getting to start that concert series and becoming involved in Folk Alliance, and that first Folk Alliance conference that I attended the week after we accidentally started the Songwriter Pop-Up, was just like transformative for me, because I realized during that conference, as I went and met all of these people from all walks of life, like you name it, gender, age, whatever, anything that I had imagined was a limitation as to why at that point in my life I couldn't be doing music anymore, I went and met all these people that showed me why it's what I should be doing, that I had no excuse. So I just started saying yes every opportunity that came to me, and the relationship that took me to Oklahoma ended up coming to an end at exactly the same time, which is a very strange, like, poetic, redemptive thing about it, because it really is like the music and the people that I met through that saved me in a time that would have otherwise probably been very, very dark for me. And by the end of that year, I had people asking me to come play, which is something that I'd never reached that point when I gave it a go the first time around. I didn't reach the point where people were like, we'll pay you money if you come play your music. And I was like, what? That's an actual thing that happens. Wow, cool. And so it just was a matter of every time the opportunity came, just saying yes and leaning into it. And also by the end of that year, I had people asking me, when is your record coming out? And I started slowly moving towards that, but I'm learning not to rush anything, that the right people come into your life at the right time for those things to happen. So a little over a year ago, I finally met Kyle Reed down in Norman, who you all should look him up because he's amazing. He's amazing.
The producer of your record.
Yeah, he produced the record. I'm one of the first people that he's produced besides his own stuff. He's been a fixture in the Oklahoma community for, I don't know, like probably 5 or 10 years now, and is a coveted sideman, and I got him to produce my record. And we've taken our time. It took us through about probably from October to this past May to finish the tracking and tie up all of that, and then we were passing mixes back and forth while I was here this summer, and we finally reached our final.
Well, a chance to hear some of those songs, I'm sure, tonight at the Roughed Up Duck in Laramie, double bill with Sean Hess, the show starting at 9 o'clock, and then tomorrow evening, Rigby Summer solo at Firewater Public House in Saratoga with a 6 p.m. show. And you also are going to be back, I guess, in the new year at some point in other parts of Wyoming and also some adjacent states.
Yeah, I have just very serendipitously had a new contact come into my life just in the last couple of weeks who's helped me get to booking a whole bunch of stuff up north, which sounds crazy. I think I'm going to call it the Against My Better Judgment tour. But
Northern Wyoming.
Right. So I've got some dates on hold right now up in Cody, and then in southern Montana, I think Red Lodge, Livingston, kind of that area. Working on some stuff in Billings, and I'll probably be back at Saratoga as well. I'll try to come through here if I can. But that's where, if folks want to head to that website, you can actually download that single that we're trying to get through there. If you give me your email address, I'll send you that as a free download. So.
All right, that's at rigbysummer.com. Rigby Summer, thanks so much for stopping in.
Thank you for having me.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Here is that single from Rigby. This is called Ballad of the Star on Wyoming Sounds. Definitely have the whole thing going this time.
I'm so sorry. I thought I attached the MP3 to the email.
Oh, well, that's also probably didn't come through because it was a forward into the studio. So I wonder if that's what happened actually. So.
I tried to cover all the bases.
Yeah, that's all right.
Sorry about
There's
that.
always something. It's not your fault.
Well, I appreciate your tenacity.
Excitement of live radio.
Right?
He is tenacious.
Exactly.
I like it.
Press the buttons until something happens.
Have to start putting out things on 45 vinyl
Right.
again, right?
Right?
Exactly. Then you know if you
Just
have
flip
it,
it to
and
you,
it's,
right?
and it's gonna